Let's talk about the escalation of war because we got this here story from the Daily Mail. FBI director agrees with Energy Department report that COVID most likely leaked from Wuhan lab and claims China is thwarting and obfuscating U.S. investigations into the virus. So, shout out to Colbert because he actually pointed this out in his bit, although he was trying to be dismissive. He said the reason the Department of Energy is putting out a statement on the lab leak is because they actually oversee biolabs. So a lot of people are, Jon Stewart made a joke when asked about it. He's like, I wasn't waiting for the Department of Energy to weigh in on this when they'll laugh. And it's like, well, they actually are the authority as they oversee biolabs. And the FBI director, Christopher Wray, agrees the lab leak about this. So what's the debate now? What's the argument? Can we just tell all of these crackpot liberal people in the corporate press they were wrong and they should be fired or what? Fire them all? For other reasons, I guess.
A lot of them were reporting what they were told, so I don't know.
So is that so? Wait. So I hire a reporter, and then I'm like, go report on what's going on with the pandemic, and then after you do, I'll tell you what to write.
Yeah, basically, that's how those corporations work.
It's true, but yeah, I mean, those aren't journalists. They're PR spokesmen for powerful institutions.
They're reporting. They're not investigating.
Well, like everything, it goes back to Trump because Trump was the one who said this virus is from China, suggested that this was the source of it, and so the media and their reflexive behavior then, of course, had to come out and say no. That's not it. And so they just dug their heels in. And there wasn't a lot of reporting on this until, not even this revelation. But there were others stepping forward.
Do you think it was Trump?
He called it the China virus right away.
I mean, a lot of people were blaming China, but Trump was a very loud and prominent voice very early on blaming China.
He was critical on China early in his.
He was always critical of China, but he campaigned on it.
Do you think that was the motivation behind the push against the narrative that it was a Wuhan
there's a really
that it was manufactured by the CCP? Yeah.
There's a really great video where there's this doctor who says, the reason the reason the press ignored the lab leak stuff is because we funded the lab and it was embarrassing. And if we didn't fund it, it would be 100% of Americans agreeing it most likely came from the lab. But it's insane that, the video's fantastic. It's insane that the media literally said this. And I have people repeating it to me. I had a friend be like, no, I think it probably came from the wet market. And I'm like, you think the bat coronavirus didn't come from the bat coronavirus laboratory. It came from the wet market a block away from the laboratory where someone drove a bat from 1,000 miles away to eat instead of the lab where they had the actual viruses that that's how I feel too. I think that Donald Trump would get pushback no matter what, but I think that because the US government was funding the lab in Wuhan and the COVID virus likely came from the lab in Wuhan, that is going to make the narrative pushback the significant factor. Does it mean we can call it the China virus now?
I mean, I don't see a problem with it, but someone's going to say you're a racist.
I'm part Asian, so I'm allowed to, and you're racist if you tell me I can't.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't need no white liberals coming to me and telling me what my people are allowed to say. That's racist. I'm trying to have a conversation over here.
Yeah.
But they'll call Larry Elder a white supremacist, so they're
going to call you racist no matter what. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter what you say because they're going to call you names and they're going to frame it in a way that can slime you no matter what.
I think
dirty smear merchants.
As we've mentioned this in the past couple of nights, I think the U.S. is getting ready for war with China, and they need this narrative.
I don't think so, because they were working together on bioweapons in Wuhan. So, and no one, we're like neighbors in the Pacific. So I don't think so. I don't think that they want war at all. Yeah, with Russia, with like Alaska and Russia and China and Russia all being kind of like triangulated.
That is a very large area that you're thinking of.
And we're not neighbors
right along the coast and everything.
You could argue we're neighbors everywhere in the world because the hegemonic powers are pressing against each other's borders. But we're all neighbors. It's and shooting at each other, but sure, neighbors. Like Pakistan and India are neighbors.
Well, they've got Pacific Coast access. Any of these Pacific countries I would consider like our West Coast neighbors. Like
sure,
Alaska,
but
Australia.
China is our principal adversary. And they've been sending warships into our territorial, near or just outside of our territorial waters, Alaska and Hawaii.
I think they're deathly afraid we're going to invade China.
You think China's scared the U.S. will invade China?
Deathly afraid. I think they
What
are.
makes you say that?
Really?
Because they're like a crumbling economy with just using us as their
We really got to get
greatest
that
sales agent.
Discord set up for people to talk to Ian.
If we cancel our alliance with China, they go bankrupt.
That's
Alliance?
that's different.
Our trade alliance.
That is different to invading mainland China.
I think that's the fear of most people around the world, is that the United States is going to invade.
No. Like that's
Not
not
China.
That's not even. That is so outside of the realm of possibility. I mean, actually maybe that's why, because it's the least likely thing that can happen.
I figured it out. Here's what we got to do. Americans got guns, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The U.S. just needs to build like a land bridge to China, and then tell Americans
Go.
Yeah, and because you know, here's what I was thinking: the Chinese people have no guns, and so if you took every American citizen and just plopped it right on top of China, like instantly, the Americans would take over and own the place because we got so many guns.
If they have no guns, what are we going there for?
Well, because I was thinking like
They don't have oil.
we wouldn't invade. They have rare earth mines
They
and things
do,
like. Rare earth minerals are actually everywhere, but just China's got the industry. But if the U.S. was going to invade China, I was thinking about this, and I'm like, yeah, why doesn't anybody invade the U.S.? Well, it's obviously because there's a gun behind every blade of grass, but not in China. They've got a big army. They have the largest standing ground army, but that won't matter when you have how many people are in their army? Not 300 million. Let's say you take 100 million U.S. adult men with guns. You know,
That's a third of the country.
They'll win any war. Like it's all the men.
China's a very weak militarily. They have good technology, but their citizens are like malnourished and impotent. When it comes to
They have
military.
1.5 billion people.
Fighting with backhoes and stuff.
It
with,
doesn't
like,
matter when there's
rakes
a
and-
billion and a half.
Well, it
An
does
important-
if they don't have weapons. If they don't have ballistics.
Important side point that people are bringing up. Adrian Curry just said, avoid Discord, they'll ban you. Yeah, we need to find something other than Discord.
Right.
There's another. There's something out there that's an option. I forget the name of the company that runs it.
We'll figure it out.
Matrix is one. The Matrix protocol and like Element chat, but it can be pretty buggy.
Right. I mean, Rumble's working on something for us, so we'll see what they can cook up. Yeah.
Oh, you think Rumble will make a call-in function or something?
Yeah, I think they're literally building something for us because we need something bespoke. So
Well, if that's the case, Rumble should build channel chats, and then we can embed the channel chat on all of the content, so there's always a chat room available everywhere, 24/7.
hey, that's a good idea. I like
Yeah.
that.
Gilded is the name of the other company that I was thinking of.
Gilded.
But, yeah, they do essentially the same thing as Discord, but
I bring up this China stuff because I think that as Americans, we've been like indoctrinated to live in fear of other people. It's since 9/11, basically. I've seen it pretty intensely, and I don't think that anyone has any intention of invading the United States right now. It'd be like poking the bear, and I mean, look at what we did with NATO. How we pushed it right up to the Russian border and then blamed them for moving forward. Like it's like putting turrets right out. Putting a bunch of turrets right outside someone's front door.
I don't think any of it is serious because these aren't serious people, including the people who are running our military. People who are in charge here and everywhere else. They're just not serious. They're not capable people.
are you saying that you don't think
think-
Putin's serious?
Look at this.
Well, to do what? Beyond what he's already doing.
I love this
I
meme.
mean, I don't think he wants to invade the U.S.
No, he doesn't. I agree with that.
Or I don't think he wants to invade Poland. I don't think he wants to
I
invade
agree with
anywhere.
that.
Here, this is a good example of us thinking that the Iranians are a threat. Iranians are a threat to the United States.
It's a meme where it says Iran wants war. Look how close they put their country to our military bases, and then it shows all of the U.S. military bases surrounding Iran.
Yeah, I don't think that the United States is at any threat to anyone but themselves at this point.
Well, the U.S. is a threat to a lot of people around the world.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is no threat to the United States beyond themselves at this point. If we implode and rip our country apart, that's the end of America.
Well,
Otherwise,
it's happening, and you know what?
Yes.
Whatever. That's why I'm saying, look, the argument for Trump, the argument about Trump was that if you revert to nationalism and you reduce internationalism, secure the borders, bring manufacturing back, it's semi-isolationist. I'm not saying you cut yourself off from the world, but what happens then is the petrodollar crumbles. The U.S. becomes reliant on its manufacturing base to do trade with other countries instead of military might. And so my attitude was like, look, if you like the way you live, where you can write articles about celebrity gossip and get paid $60K a year, then you want to vote neolib. You want to vote neocon. You want to vote establishment, because bombing kids in Yemen sells weapons to Saudi Arabia, which props up our economy, and then you get to do nothing for everything. But if you vote for Donald Trump, you're going to have to roll up your sleeves, get a good job, take care of yourself, figure things out on your own, and you're not going to get this free ride from blowing up kids. Donald Trump's foreign policy, I think, proves that. And I've always been about the U.S. should not be using military might for economic advantage around the world. But I tell you this, all these leftists and all these liberals, if you actually place them in front of like a fork in the road and you said, the fork on the left ends all war from the United States and the empire, but you'll have to work from sunup to sundown on a farm to survive. And the road on the right, we blow those kids up, but you get cheap cheeseburgers. They will all walk down the right fork. Mm-hmm. Every single hipster college leftist will take the go ahead and blow them off if it means I don't got to work. Because already we're seeing these videos of young people being like, they're filming themselves on TikTok going, why do I have to work to like live?
I can't believe that's a thing.
Adulting. Yeah.
Yeah, the word adulting.
Whole term. Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.